Today's episode is brought to you by Romer Skincare. Based out of Chicago, Romer launched a work-from-home clean skincare line that covers all of your skin needs. They proved that you don't need a million serums and eye creams to get better skin. Why we love them? Clean ingredients and effective results with just a simple 3-step routine that you and even your partner can share. Right now, Romer Skincare is offering our listeners 15% off and a gift with your first purchase by using code LISTENER15. That's code LISTENER15 on their website, romerskincare.com. No stress, no clutter, just happy skin.
It's the Infectious Groove Podcast, recorded at the 33rd Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Now here's your host.
Well, hello there. I am your host. My name is Russ, and along with me for the ride, as always, is Kyle and Michelle. How are y'all doing?
We good.
Oh, awesome.
I feel like that wasn't the most sincere answer I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's strange. So we have an episode on tap that for at least one of us is a big one. I'm one of the world's biggest Black Crowes fans. So in the second half of this episode, we are going to share with you the interview that I did the other day with Mr. Steve Gorman, who was the drummer for the Black Crowes for 30-some years. And he is a badass, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that in the second half. We'll share that interview with you and a couple other things to talk about right off the top. So the last time we talked about this, we were in 59 countries. And
is it more?
Now we have been listened to in 70 countries.
Damn.
Which is crazy.
Hell yeah.
I still can't name 7 countries.
The other day when I saw that, I was like, Michelle's going to say I can't name that many countries. So, yeah, so the Infectious Groove Podcast worldwide, which is pretty sweet. So if you are new to the episode, if you've seen that we have this Steve Gorman interview and you're new to the podcast, make sure to hit the subscribe button and check out. We've got quite a healthy back catalog now for people to go through, which is pretty sweet. And we have all of our regular segments and whatnot that we do that, we hear from folks. They love them, and we're pretty happy about it. So we also want to say that we are always super grateful for our supporters. We just talked a few minutes ago about like all the cool things we can do because of our supporters, and so we have some cool things coming up. I'm told that we're going to be giving away stickers soon, is from what I hear.
So many stickers we're going to be giving away, which is going to be super, super rad. So we have not a ton of music news, but I think like enough to carry the conversation for a bit, so this should be interesting. So here we go.
Music news.
What it is, Kyle?
Not to beat a dead horse about,
however,
TikTok, but everyone's seen the video of the guy skateboarding, drinking cranberry juice, and listening to Fleetwood Mac, and it's become a huge deal. And it goes back to the point that we talked about before, where Fleetwood Mac tweeted that video out themselves, and said basically that they approved.
So hold on, wait. They didn't just sue?
No. They did not sue TikTok or that guy.
Well, I'm forced to ask, and then what happened when they didn't sue and they tweeted it out?
So now all of these TikTok kids that had no idea who Fleetwood Mac was know who Fleetwood Mac is.
Yeah, and then what they do? Started listening to Fleetwood Mac?
Yep.
And
so now all their streaming numbers are up way from where they were before.
Yeah.
So
I swear to God, I have this on my notes for the show. My notes says Fleetwood Mac /TikTok, and then under that it says labels. Stop being greedy idiots.
Yeah. And it's unnecessary, and they very much did the correct thing, which would be to holy shit, this is free promotion for us, and we're not as relevant as we were. Years ago. Yep. So why not take advantage of it?
Do you know how many other videos I've seen, like with the same song, just like doing? Yeah. And so, like, it's not just him now; it's everywhere. That song is everywhere.
There's like 1,000 copycat videos of that guy.
Right.
Everyone, doing different things.
And they're all using
that song.
Dreams, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, so Dreams, of course, famously comes from Rumors, released in.
I love Rumors.
I love Rumors. It released in '77, and. I mean, it's in the discussion with Thriller and Dark Side of the Moon as far as like album sales go. So it's not even that Fleetwood Mac needs the help. It's a matter of like
new generation.
Yeah. Like you need to continue to turn on the new generation to this stuff. I can't count the number of people. You get people who buy a Led Zeppelin T-shirt for their teenager at Target, and then the kid doesn't even know who Led Zeppelin is, has never heard a Led Zeppelin song, you know? And I use Led Zeppelin as an example because they're one of those acts that just, I mean, if you even, like, on YouTube, you can get a copyright strike in a music discussion video if you say Led Zeppelin.
What?
Like if you don't play Led Zeppelin, like
if you say the words Led Zeppelin,
because we've talked about it before. The Rick Beato that has like a lot of music instruction videos. Like he'll always say like that band or whatever. Like he always is like, yeah, I can't even say their name.
Can you say it in Pig Latin?
yes. Oh boy,
Eplinze. There you go.
Yep. But like, there's a couple like that, like Black Sabbath, the Eagles. Like he just like he'll be like the Southern rock band, or Southern California rock band, you know, because
because they're so out of touch with how things operate nowadays.
Don Henley went to goddamn Congress recently about it and was like, I need people to pay me every day. You were on Hotel California, dude. You're gonna be fine.
I'm sorry. Do what now?
You know, yeah, and also I would be better off if the whole entire generation forgot about the Eagles, anyways. Personally,
tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. The Eagles are the Creed of the 70s. That's how I feel about. That's how I feel about.
When you said Creed, I was thinking The Office.
Oh, I thought.
I was like, well, that's interesting.
I thought you were thinking Apollo. So you're like, wait a minute, they're the guy from Rocky. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Eagles. But you know.
I myself have not like TikTok drives me crazy, but that was a very, very smart and calculated move on their part.
For sure.
For exposure, man. Free exposure.
To join in and think that maybe it's not the end of the world if people are sharing your music.
Do you think Fleetwood Mac actually runs their Twitter, though? So it's got to be somebody else, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, probably. Well, first of all, I don't think all 5 of them or 4 of them now. I don't think they all sit around and like decide, when to hit the send button. Or
maybe they all have
like
the password and they just post whatever they want.
I'm sure they do, but the point is that tweet would never go out from a corporate rock band's Twitter without it being approved by everybody.
Yeah.
So I just, to me, as soon as I saw this story, like I don't care about TikTok either.
Lies.
No, I don't at all care about TikTok. But I also understand, generations, and that's how things are going to happen. And I'm really glad that this story is yet another example of how record labels should be, instead of the story being like, oh, did you hear? Yeah, Fleetwood Mac crapped all over that dude, and you know what I mean? And
record labels operate very much like regular businesses do now. That like they haven't gotten with the modern times of how things can and should operate.
Yep.
And they're very old school about everything.
And we're going on since '99, since like Napster happened, of the record label still not getting how to adapt.
Right.
You got to remember their first thing was like, okay, well, let's sue everybody. No, wait, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. And there's certain other businesses in the in the business world that operate the same way. They just have not gotten with whether it be like ordering online or like doing like website stuff or any of that kind of stuff. They just haven't gotten with the times.
Ordering online, you mean like restaurants.com? Coming soon.
That is what we mean.
That's what we'll mean when they're paying us in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, I'm sure there's probably a certain cross section of our listeners too that are like, oh my God, he's going on about it again. But my thing is this: when we do our Jammy Jams, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to play like 30 seconds of each song that we're talking about. I mean, we do this playlist and that's all fine and good, and we have people that subscribe to that, and people have told us many times that they love that, but we should be able to put that in the episode. It's not like someone's going to listen to our show to steal that song.
No one's going to rip the 10 seconds we play off of our show.
Maybe someone's going to hold their cassette player up to the microphone or the speaker on their computer and record it.
Yeah.
On a cassette tape.
Or just copy it digitally one-to-one easily.
No.
But the point is, no one's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, and I just don't understand why the record labels don't get that. Like, we have a whole section of our show that's meant to sell music.
Yeah.
Like, that's meant to get people to listen to music.
We're promoting people that you're paying for free.
Yeah.
You're not having to pay us anything, and we promote these people, and we can't promote them the way we want to.
If they changed the laws to where you could do that, like, I would even stop insulting Creed and the Eagles. Like, like...
I take it all back.
Yeah, I would. No, I didn't say I'd take anything back. I would definitely just, be like, okay, well, let's, I'm not going to detract from
you would people's. Accept them with arms wide open.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I just hate them. I just hate them. Anyways, like I say, I mean, for me, my whole notes can be wrapped up in what I typed, which is stop being greedy idiots.
Yeah, it's just bullshit.
Let people share your music, because nobody is going to steal it for that. They're going to find a way to listen to the song.
And it really sucks that somebody, an old school band like that, had to come and show like how this can be done this way, and they're from the old times where like. it wasn't done
when
that
they
way.
when they were getting $1 billion up front, for recording, just to go record records.
And maybe it is because they've already made $1 billion off of Dreams. They don't give two shits, and they just want people to more.
But my
hear
argument
it.
against that is Don Henley.
Yeah,
Don Henley's made
true.
as much money or more than that Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
And he's like, this dude. I watched his speech to Congress, and it was embarrassing. Like it was just.
How old is he?
108.
Well, that's probably why he was senile.
Yeah, and he's just going on about how, like, because this dude's railing against like people teaching guitar on YouTube and stuff, and it's like, heaven forbid. Okay, because of the Hotel California solo, because of the solo in that song, Zakk Wylde started playing guitar.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you think Zakk Wylde went to an Eagles concert and was like, oh, that's how you play it? Like, you know what I mean?
So does Don Henley think that Zakk Wylde owes him money? Give me money.
No, but what he does, he thinks that guys sitting on YouTube making money teaching others how to play the Hotel California solo, he should get that money, not the guitar.
Well, then you do it.
Right. Well, Don didn't play the guitar on it.
Then you do it.
Right. It's dumb. You're not arguing with me. It's dumb. And things like this all tie in together for me, where it's like, oh, what, the story at first was like, oh, look at the guy on TikTok with the thing, and now the story is, oh, Fleetwood Mac got a bump out of that.
Yeah.
Anyways, what else do we have in music news?
AC/DC made some announcements.
Yeah, I mean,
which
I don't hate AC/DC. They're just not my thing. They're the thing of many, many, many people, but it's not my deal. But the big headline from it is that when they put out their last record, Rock or Bust, which I think came out in 2015, and Brian Johnson was on the record, and then they got, I don't know, about halfway through the tour, and it was just like, AC/DC announces Brian Johnson's out, and it's like, well, okay, but you're touring with Brian Johnson,
No, they are not.
Yeah, and so famously Axl Rose stepped in and finished that tour, and he did a hell of a job. Like, if I was ever going to care about going to an AC/DC show, that would have been it. But he was still singing AC/DC songs the whole time, so I wasn't interested in hearing that. But out of nowhere, they released a 30-second clip of a new song, and they have a new record coming out called Power Up, and Brian Johnson's back on vocals. He's been the singer of the band since Back in Black came out in 1980, so for AC/DC fans, that's like, it's close to the original lineup as you're going to get. Bon Scott passed away, and so did Malcolm Young, but it's pretty much the most solid lineup of AC/DC that's been, so AC/DC fans have got to be happy about that. I don't even know, they didn't say when the record's coming, but my guess is like spring or something. They're probably going to wait to see if they can tour after it, is my guess. So, but yeah, that was really what I heard about AC/DC. It was just all based on that 30-second clip. But I think the thing was, I guess that's as close to like a surprise drop that an older act would do, that they just out of nowhere were like, hey, not only do we have a new record, but Brian's back, and here's a sample.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I guess if you really care about them, then that's a big deal.
Yeah, and like I say, they're not my thing, but they're the thing of millions of people, and so for them, that's cool. I personally, I would have been fine with an Axl record, but we know that he can't release music with anybody. So when that dude was working on Chinese Democracy, the very first songs that came out before even he completed his own record was him singing on a Sebastian Bach record. So it wouldn't have surprised me if they put out an AC/DC record with him before.
That sounds about right.
Before another GNR record. So what else? We got at least something that's kind of a follow-up in a way to last week?
So we've gone over a million times like what we think is going to happen with concerts and what's been happening since the whole COVID thing. Mm-hmm. And just last night there was a big virtual concert. Like Corey Taylor was involved in it, and a bunch. It was a big, huge deal, which I didn't even know about it until today. But it was.
Whoops.
And those of you listening to this actually happened on the 2nd.
Right.
It's not going to be current to what you're hearing, but there was recently a big online thing, and now here in Detroit, well, it's outside of Detroit, but there is a place called the Crowfoot. They have like a festival area where they're going to be doing a drive-in concert,
which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and it's the concert is it's called Smith & Meyer's Drive-In Experience, but it's two guys from Shinedown,
right?
And they're doing I think a bunch of covers and stuff like that. But yeah, they are experimenting with having everyone drive in.
I think the first time I even Shinedown was on my radar was when they did their cover of Simple Man, and I think after that I was like, oh, this has been a thing apparently for a couple
I don't know that I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing, but I know in the past these guys who've done stuff, it's been a lot of cover stuff.
So this is different, I think. before I sound dumb, where like Garth Brooks was doing the drive-in concert where you would go to your drive-in and they showed a film of the concert.
They're going to actually be there.
playing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and so you pay it's like $30 a car, and that includes 4 people or something like that, or whatever. But yeah, they are trying to, I guess, experiment with normalizing different ways of seeing live music,
Which is, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And we heard, I think last night the Lone Bellow did the same thing, right? They did
Yeah,
a drive-in
I saw that.
show. So I don't know what the results of it yet were, but I know that they tweeted out a picture from the stage of like all the parking spaces, and they were like, "Well, first time for everything," Which,
Yeah,
I never sang to cars before.
yeah, but I will take that. That is more getting back to normal.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it. It's for me, it's the actual artist being there would be much better than the watching a film at a drive-in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to see if this is the first time this is happening anywhere in Michigan. So like maybe there'll be a huge turnout because it's getting cold here and you want to sit in your car and watch music. I don't know.
Yeah.
When is it?
Let's see what this says.
We're going to go on a field trip?
No.
October 17th at 6 p.m.
Sorry.
The listeners can't see this, but the look on your face was, you are dumb for asking that question.
When he showed it to me, I was like, "Oh, cool. Who's that?" And he was like, "Different Shadow." And I was like, "And moving on."
Yeah, but like we got a bunch of interaction on Twitter, which I'm going to cover here in a second, because I ran a poll about would you go back to a music festival or not. And there's a lot of different answers, but one of the things for me was like, I'll go running back. I don't care who it is. The first concert that comes, I'm going. Like, I do not care who it is. Like, whoever it is that shows up. To backtrack a couple of minutes, if Creed comes in concert, I'm going to that show. Like, just to go to a show.
I'm holding you to that.
I will go. Now, I want to be clear. It's got to be the first one. So,
The first one here, the first one anywhere.
First one here in Michigan.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
so while we were sitting here, I was looking up more stuff about like what they were doing, and it is gonna. So there is a stage area, there's a VIP area, and there's a general admission area. All presumed to be just a big ass parking lot.
Probably just like the closer you can park or something.
Yeah, and so they're going to do audio over via a traditional PA system and FM radio.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, you'll be able to. You can like maybe sit outside your car and then still hear everything that's going on.
And then you can record it with an app, which would be free live album.
Yeah, there you go.
Which would be dope. So speaking of which, I wanted to run these results real quick. I ran a Twitter poll the other day, and we had, a couple hundred people reply to it. The question was, would you attend music festivals when they start up again? And the choices that I gave people was, oh my God, yes.
I like it.
This answer was, I had you in my head when I put it. The second answer was, no, are you crazy? And the third one is maybe, and leave a comment. So it was 36% said, oh my God, yes. 38% said, no, are you crazy? And then there was 26% of people that wanted to leave a comment. And the comments pretty much were all along the lines of what you said, Kyle. Like, who knows what the rules are going to be? Like, what if I go and I'm following the rules and everybody else isn't? And you know what I mean? Like, that type of thing was pretty much what everybody's main concern was. And then there was a certain cross-section that was like, I was too old for festivals before this. Like, I'm certainly too old for them now.
And so this thing that's happening is not a festival, but the more that I'm reading about this, it's like it sounds kind of awesome and confusing at the same time.
All right, well, it sounds like two of us are going.
Yeah, because they're not selling concessions or like merch and stuff. Like, you can't go and walk up and buy them, but you go on your phone and you can order like merch and food and stuff, and they bring it to your car.
That's rad.
Yeah, and you can order let's see, beer, wine, cocktails, hard seltzers, soda, and water.
Right to your car.
And artist merchandise will be available on site and delivered to your vehicle.
That's rad.
So for a few hours, you can drink in your car.
That's sweet too. So you don't have to wait in a merch line and then deal with the snotty,
that
merch guy.
makes it. Yeah,
the snotty merch guy will have to bring it to you, which is pretty sweet.
I wonder if they'll be on roller skates.
Probably.
That's how I imagine it.
Hopefully.
Or a Segway?
Right. Yeah. Or they could use, what's that thing built into your body? Oh, their legs. They could use their legs.
Lame.
Just walk. Maybe you could apply for a job to be the person that delivers everything on roller skates.
Not at a Shinedown show.
It sounds like it might be kind of cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Y'all have fun.
Experimental and cool.
Like, I barely like Shinedown, and I would go for the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to do covers, great.
Yeah.
Then okay. Because that dude's a good singer, I'm sure.
Or more of being like, just to go and see firsthand, like, how stuff might operate for the next, who knows how long.
When is that show?
The 16th.
Okay.
So you said the 17th.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Maybe it's both nights.
Hold on.
But no, I was thinking.
Oh, it is. It's Saturday, October 17th.
Right on. I was thinking about ahead, just try and find a way to get a hold of them, see if we can have them come on the show and talk.
I mean, I love Shinedown.
Right.
No, that would be awesome. That's free promo for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they'd pack that thing out.
Right on. Okay, cool. Well, that wraps up music news.
That's all we got.
Alrighty. Our jammies. Moving right along, I have, as always, 3 songs that were stuck in my head that I was just listening to nonstop. And again, these 3 couldn't be any more different, but one of them I get stuck in my head like constantly. If the song ever crosses my mind, I get it stuck in my head. But in this order of importance for like songs that I have to hear right now, I've been listening to. Do you guys know Boondocks by Little Big Town?
No.
Okay.
I know the band Little Big Town.
I feel no shame. I'm proud to wear. Like, if
as
soon as it starts, you'd be like, "Oh, I know that song."
Okay.
At Jam, it's just a Jam. Plus, there's a version you can't get it on streaming, so we'll just put the regular version on our playlist. But they did a CMT Crossroads with Lindsey Buckingham, and he tore the hell out of that song with them. It was great.
Sweet.
But anyways, I love that song, and it's almost like 2 songs in one because like halfway through it just stops and goes to like a breakdown, and the whole last minute of the song is totally different than the first half. And it's just a jam. I remember having big hopes for that band when they came out, and they're huge. Like they have a lot of hits, but like I haven't liked anything they've done but that song.
Aw, bummer.
But damn it, I love that song though. That one, and then the one that I get stuck in my head every couple of weeks for some reason is "Drive" by the Cars. And it's just such a great song. And I saw a video on YouTube or something the other day about it was the anniversary of Ben Orr's passing, and Ben was the one who sang that song.
Mm-hmm.
Like either Rick Ocasek or Ben Orr sang all the Cars songs, and Rick sang a lot of the hits, but Ben Orr sang a lot of the hits as well. So as soon as anybody mentions the Cars or Ben Orr, I immediately get his vocal in my head from that song. It's getting great vocal, and it's crazy because Rick Ocasek wrote that song and asked Ben Orr to sing it. So like he was just like, "You'll do a better job on this than me," which is cool, to not have that ego about it. And then the other one that could not be more different than the other 2, and for no reason whatsoever, I have had Camila Cabello, Havana, stuck in my head.
That was our theme song for last summer.
Oh yeah, and that is such a jam, and I just get it stuck in my head, and there's just no getting it out. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, look forward to those 3 showing up on the playlist. And again, if you this is your first time listening to us, maybe because of the Steve Gorman interview, boy, are you in for a treat, because here we go. It is going to be Michelle's Jammy Jams. Michelle, hit us.
That was my favorite one yet. You could just record that and make it a
I was going to say, I'm never going to top it.
Yeah.
So.
Mine are, I just have 2 that I've been listening to this week. Also very different. I've been listening to Spaghetti Hands.
Will you please clarify for people? Because there is no song called Spaghetti Hands.
It's Darius Rucker, and the song is called All Right.
It's all right. Is it all right or it's all right? Okay, yeah. And just so everyone knows, Darius Rucker is famous for mumbling.
Yeah.
And there's a line at the beginning of the song where he says, "I got spaghetti and a cheap bottle of wine." I think, but he goes, "I got spaghetti and a cheap bottle." Somewhere along the line, Michelle and I decided that he had spaghetti hands.
I literally, the first time I heard it, I had to run it back because I was like, he has spaghetti hands. And I was like, it was like just on in the background. I put the CD on or something when I got it, and I was like, what is going on right now?
That's awesome.
It's kind of stuck to the point where I think we were almost made T-shirts or something.
Oh, probably. That sounds like something we would do. Wait, is it possible that we drank a lot and then never followed through on it?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That totally sounds like... So you see, Kyle, it's been like this for years.
So yeah, I've been listening to Spaghetti Hands quite a bit, and
people are going to be confused when they look at the playlist. They're going to be like, "There's no song called Spaghetti Hands on here."
Yes, you have to find it.
Right. It's like a Where's Hootie book.
And then the other one is My Chem, which I learned this week. Kyle's not about.
Oh boy,
he's not about.
I think we've talked about this on the show before, because even teenagers. I was like, even teenagers, and he was like, I was like, oh well.
Yeah, I came out in the car twice today, and he was like, "Stop it."
I don't know what rubs me the wrong way.
I don't hate them and I don't love them. They're just the only thing that they ever did, and I'm sure I've beat this story to death with you though, is you can't sing the praises of your own record.
Yeah,
you can't. And when the Black Parade came out, these jokers got on the VMAs and got asked how good the Black Parade is, and they were like, "Well, it's this generation's The Wall." You can't say that about your own damn record.
Yeah,
like if I put out a record and you tell someone that it's this generation's Joshua Tree, great.
Yeah.
If I tell someone that, you're asking for your record to fail.
I thought he said it was like Queen or something.
No, he said, lady, he said The Wall. Trust me, because I just about threw something at the TV.
It was one of the songs off that album that drives me nuts, and I think that's what started me not liking them in general.
Is the Black Parade?
What is that? I don't know.
The Black Parade?
Oh, maybe it was that song.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah,
I remember hearing that and being like, nope.
Yeah.
It was like 2 years after that record came out, I heard Teenagers out of nowhere, and I talked to Michelle about it. I was like, I heard a Mike Chem song I really liked. I told her what it was, and she was like, that's off the Black Parade, and I was like, oh, damn it. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I just can't get past
I know.
that guy. I don't know.
I own the Greatest Hits record on vinyl, but for Teenagers.
Yeah.
And I think we've put it on, like you've pulled it or something, Michelle, and I'll play whatever you want to hear, and then I'm always like, okay, Teenagers, and we're out.
And I'm like, just play the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's a 2 LP set. I ain't sitting through 2 LPs of.
I will.
Mike Chem. Yeah, I know you will.
So that's it for me.
Spaghetti Hands and
Mike Chem.
And Mike Chem.
So
I got spaghetti hands.
Oh my god!
And Kyle, what have you got for Jammy Jams?
So I've had 3 entire albums on rotation this week.
Nice. New releases or just...
They're all new releases, yeah.
Yes. See, now these we're going to have to watch for to see if they have the bump.
Yeah,
if they get the Kyle bump.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. Yeah, I remember now. Joji put out a new record called Nectar. And Michelle mentioned it last week because she thought that I listened to it, and I had bypassed it and listened to something else instead of it.
I know.
And
we've now got to the point where Michelle's listening to the new stuff before you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And now I regret not listening to it before because it's real good. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Right on.
YG also put out a new record called My Life 400.
I'm sorry, what?
400.
Is it aggressive like that?
Are there any tracks on it with Mike, period?
No.
Okay. Call back.
And then 21 Savage put out a record with Metro Boomin called Savage Mode 2.
The sequel. Wait, or is it TOO like I also am in Savage Mode?
No, it's just... It could be taken either way, but listen, no, it's the number 2.
I have to ask the important questions.
It's the number 2.
Actually, tomorrow when I'm editing the episode and putting the thing together, I'm going to be like, hooray. Because I always put the playlist together for it. So, but yeah, all 3 hot. Like no dead tracks among them. That's cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed all 3 of them.
It's been like a big old school thing for me lately. Like Roger Waters put out a live album that's, of course, all old Floyd material. And Nick Mason put out a live album that's even older Floyd material than the Roger one. So, like, for me, there hasn't been much new exciting going on. So I was happy with like the 3, at least diverse songs that I've been listening to.
Somehow 21 Savage got Morgan Freeman to do interludes on his album, which I wasn't...
Like, newly recorded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's specifically for the album.
I asked because, and I'm not being funny, this is 100% serious. Morgan Freeman was one of the reasons that Chinese Democracy was delayed for years, and a lot of people don't know that. There's a song on Chinese Democracy called Madagascar, and in the middle, there's tons of clips. I mean, the Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speeches in it, and there's Michael J. Fox from like Casualties of War, and William Dafoe from stuff. And anyways, Morgan Freeman is in the song from Seven, where he's listing off the 7 deadly sins, and he says fear. That one word from Morgan Freeman, it took them like 3 years to get clearance for it to be on the record. And Axl was like, and at the time, Axl had artistic integrity, and he was like, the song's not coming out without, like, it needs to be exactly this. And it took him forever to get the clearance of literally that one word.
That's crazy.
I was curious if it was like...
Yeah, it's all specifically for this album. And when I first initially heard it, I thought that it might have been like Frank Caliendo, because he does a fantastic Morgan Freeman impression. But no, I read an article about it today, and sure as shit, it is actually Morgan Freeman that recorded the stuff for the album.
That's rad. Yeah. And I did, you know what I mean? I didn't know if it was like old movie clips or whatever. That's sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I want to have Morgan Freeman record every word in the dictionary before he passes, like just so forever we can keep putting together sentences from Morgan Freeman. I don't think that's too much to ask.
I mean, no, he's got nothing to do right now. He's
right. We're all locked down anyways.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Well, that was music news and Jammy Jams and a little bit of what's been going on with the show. I'm going to take us to break right quick, and then when we come back, we are going to tell you a little bit about why I'm so damn excited about this Steve Gorman interview, and then we'll drop that on you. We'll be back in a second.
It's the Dad in a Rock podcast. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
Join us every week as we give you the dad's point of view on pop culture.
And stumbling our way through fatherhood. Dad jokes.
Star Wars.
Streaming.
Tech news.
Movie news.
Listen to lifelong pals tell stories from past and present.
Cruise with us into the cheesy every week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms.
And as always, find past episodes and links to our social media pages on dadinarock.com.
Once every harvest moon, a talk show comes along that is so groundbreaking, raising the bar to such heights that other podcasts step back and say, wow, that show's got it figured out. With a host, tempered in focus, commitment, and sheer will, this is The Derek Duvall Show. Pop culture, news, and interviews with fascinating people that channel the great Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite. The Derek Duvall Show. Find him on Twitter and Instagram at Derek Duvall Show, and find his new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Podchaser. The Derek Duvall Show. The best thing to happen to Hump Day since the Geico camel. What?
Are you constantly struggling with how to function in society? Do you need someone to make you laugh on occasion? Are you wanting to share your thoughts and opinions? Well, have I got a show for you. My name is Garrett, host of Garrett Talks to Himself, a segmented, interactive podcast where I do all of these things. Head to anchor.fm/GTTH to subscribe wherever you listen. I'll be waiting.
All right, we're back, and we usually have a main topic of discussion that rotates through a whole bunch of different things, but every so often when we are hooked up with an interview, we'll just run that instead of the main topic of discussion. So for me, this was a big, huge deal getting this interview because I've been a Black Crowes fan since their first record came out in 1990. I saw them in concert for the first time in 92 and was just blown away. Like, they were an amazing band to see live, and they really evolved over time with their... for me, one record after the next was better than the last, and that's saying a lot. Like, their debut record was great. Their second record destroyed the first one. The third one I liked even better than the second one, and so on, you know? Their fifth record was really the only one that I was like, I could take or leave. And for years I've had a theory about that record that it was very much like a record label thing. Like, the record label was like, you should make your first album again, you know, like make it sound like that. Yeah. I've had that theory for years, and people have always been like, oh, I don't know, maybe, you know. And in Steve Gorman's book, he absolutely clarified that. That's absolutely what happened. They went into the studio, and the record label was like, yeah, enough of this shit. Like, you know, like, you
stop messing around.
Yeah, you need to make us a Black Crowes record that sounds like the first Black Crowes, and that's what they did. And it's not a bad album, but it's just, I knew hearing it that that's what it was. So it was nice to have that. So in any case, I'm sitting on the couch the other night just tweeting, as I do, and I tweeted at Steve Gorman of the Black Crowes, or was of the Black Crowes, and said, you know, hey, any chance you want to give our music podcast a couple minutes to talk? And he hit me back with, because he saw that we were from Detroit, he said, Sparty or Blue? And I don't care at all about...
I've seen that he said that back to you.
Yeah, so I just replied and said, I honest to God don't care one way or the other, but I have a whole lot of friends that scream Go Blue. And he said, I'll allow it, and followed us. We followed him, exchanged DMs, and holy crap, I started talking to Steve Gorman. So it was...
That's magical.
It is magical. And
that's
it was
the power of social media.
That is the power of social media. It's the power of social media and the power of a cool dude. Like Steve, you know, he didn't have to do that at all. You know, he could have just moved right on. So, but for me, what's interesting about it is there is the Black Crowes, and then in Dr. Evil quotes, then there's the Black Crowes, which is, there is now a corporation called the Black Crowes that has moved on without Steve Gorman. And unless, you know, when the world got locked down with Rona, their plans got totally screwed up, which is great for me. But it's Rich and Steve, Rich and Chris, these two guys who can't stand each other, who don't even like their first record, have decided to get three other people, just call themselves the Black Crowes, and then go on tour playing the first record front to back. Dumb.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That sounds like a money grab.
If you look it up in the dictionary, there's a picture of Chris and Rich counting money. Like, that's exactly what that tour is. I want nothing to do with it personally, and you will hear in the interview, Steve absolutely wants nothing to do with the Black Crowes in any way, shape, or form. So I had a list of questions, and I wasn't going to push it like anyone would be sensational about, isn't Chris a piece of shit? And oh no, Steve said that on his own. So Steve just went ahead and said that on his own.
We talked about it before, and a lot of people probably don't care that, like, what the lineup is. They just want to hear Black Crowes songs, no matter if it's, the original guys or not.
Well, and Michelle knows this because she went to one Crow show with me. I used to tell people constantly, because the Black Crowes the real Black Crowes in their heyday, their set lists were 100% different night to night. Like, I'd seen the Black Crowes on like a Tuesday and Wednesday and not heard the same song between the two shows. And I always told her and anybody else that went to the show, like, if you're going to the show to hear She Talks to the Angels, you're probably not going to hear that song. So please don't go to the show if that's what you're going to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be uppity about it, like, Floyd, like, oh, don't like Brick in the Wall, but if I know going in that you're probably not going to hear that, I would rather tell you that.
Right.
And for them to go on tour and play that, they don't even like their first record. They don't even like each other, and I just...
They sure like money.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I think the tour was way overbooked. Like, I used to, in their prime, I would see the Black Crowes at like a state theater size place, 1,500, 2,000 seater, and they booked this tour into like 20,000 seaters. And I'm sorry, but She Talks to Angels is not that good of a song.
I feel like that's a Groupon show.
Oh, that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just so you know, don't send me that screenshot because I'm not going. When it comes around next summer, like, I'm sure it's going to be $5 a ticket at the most, and nope.
They're just going to be they're going to be money gunning each other after the show.
Unless
there's hotel room.
Unless it's allowed for us to throw things at them, I don't want to go.
What if that's the first show?
The first show allowed back in Michigan is that show.
Damn it. All right, so we're going to roll this interview for you that happened the other day. I had a great time with this, and you'll hear. I will tell you that Steve has been like a dream guest for me, and if you've ever heard an interview with Steve Gorman, he has an extremely dry sense of humor, and you will hear right off the top he works in his dry sense of humor, and we go from there. So check it out. We'll be back with you right after the interview. All right, well, I've been asked many, many times what my top 3 guests would be to have on this show, and here we are right now with my number 1 answer on the line, Mr. Steve Gorman. Steve, thanks so much for coming on the Infectious Groove podcast.
Well, thank you very much. I would recommend you get out of the house a little more. If I'm number 1, you got a lot of work to do, brother.
No, well, I should say of, living and so on, you know what I mean? Like, there's a...
Oh, well, if it's just for the 7 billion people currently alive, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there we go. So we're talking to Steve because he just had the 1-year anniversary of his book, Hard to Handle, The Life and Death of the Black Crowes, pass. In addition to having manned the drum kit for the Black Crowes, Steve now drums for a great band called Trigger Hippy. He also finds time to host Steve Gorman Sports and Steve Gorman Rocks. Did I leave anything out?
Well, I do have to make a correction. Steve Gorman Sports is no longer on the air. It's just Steve Gorman Rocks now.
I see. Okay, you see, the other night when we first interacted on Twitter, you asked me a sports question, and I truly had no idea how to answer because I don't know the first thing about sports. So having said that, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was anytime I've seen an old Crowes interview, like including the behind the music or anything, I always admired your sharp wit and your humor that you always had in pretty much any situation. Throughout the book, it seems like your humor pretty much helped you deal with a lot of the self-inflicted setbacks the Black Crowes had, like, while they were happening. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, it's definitely accurate to say. And I don't necessarily recommend humor as the only thing you use to get through trying situations, because there's when you're constantly trying to break the ice or kill the mood with a joke, there's a little bit of denial in that too. Like there's times when it's a really good idea to go, hey, wait a minute, this thing is totally screwed up. What's happening? But yeah, as far as part of an armor, if you will, to keep you safe in times of great stress. Yeah, humor's tough to beat.
Yeah, and I feel like some of it is definitely. In hindsight, from what I read in the book, like one of the biggest examples I could think of was, your reaction to the conversation you had with Jimmy Page regarding why the Page Crowes tour was cut short. Certainly not funny at the time, but the way it's written in the book, it's so well written that the reader almost has to kind of laugh along with you, like, I can't believe this happened.
Well, I think that I think the whole thing's funny. I mean, obviously there's sadness and great pain and some moments of real, where there's no humor to be found as it's happening. But yeah, looking back, I mean, I don't think any of it's precious. I was never precious about the band, even when I was in it, in terms of, we're a rock band, and the band was made up of a bunch of people of varying curiosities, intellects, talents, all brought wonderful things to the table. But like every other band I've ever been around, and this includes bands that I have spent decades of my life basically worshiping at, every band is a clown car. I mean, they really are. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean everyone's not smart and creative and talented. It just means when you put 4, 5, 6 people in that situation and things start to go, all you can do more often than not is just try to keep the thing out of the ditch. You know what I mean? That's it. That's the best you can do. I mean, I say at the end of the book, or maybe it's the beginning of the book, but there's no reason the Black Crowes lasted 27 years. It absolutely should not have happened for that long. Or that, or starting with me anyway, Mr. Crow's Garden and the Black Crowes. The band just was not the kind of band that has a lengthy run. It's like it's through a lot of luck and a lot of stubbornness and bullheadedness and having a great manager and a few other things that the band stayed around as long as it did. But if you go back in time, in 1987 all the way up till the record came out in 1990, I would have never bet on us being one of those long-term bands. I thought we were great. I thought we had a lot of potential. I thought all that, but yeah, we weren't the band we weren't the careerists. You know what I mean?
For sure. And it's funny, you mentioned the manager. That was one thing reading the book. If I said it once, I said it 20 times throughout the book. All right, Pete, go ahead. Like the dude kept so much together for you guys for so long. You're not one of those stories where the manager is the problem. Like you had a fantastic manager taking care of you. Yeah.
God, no. It's so not the case. I mean, when we took direction from Pete, the results speak for themselves. We went in 4 years' time. We went from a band nobody had heard of to a band that was headlining European festivals, and that was largely because we allowed Pete to do his job.
Right. Yeah, and that, like you said, the results speak for themselves for sure. So, myself being a longtime fan of the band, and I saw you guys countless times. There's so much that comes from the book that we had no idea on the outside, and I expected to feel a lot of things while reading the book. And as I was approaching the end, I kind of thought that the last emotion you'd be left with would be like a sadness, of a passing of a great thing. But the vibe I got was more peaceful. Am I reading that right? Is that where you're at?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm my feelings for the band. I mean, for the records are always there. The gigs are always there. They were recorded. The music speaks for itself. As far as what it was like, and the things I've always said are it's a sad story, and I'm really glad it happened, and I'm grateful for all that came to my life from that experience. And the Black Crowes, there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda in the story of the Black Crowes, like in so many other bands. I think we took it to the nth degree. We carried that thing as far as we could. The old snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. We were pretty great at that.
Yeah.
And in terms of that, if you just look at other bands around us, and not just bands from our generation, but older and now even younger bands, I'm forever sad that we didn't do all we could have done. But in terms of my life, just me on this planet, it's fantastic, man. I think I said to somebody once, it's like being 7th in the world at the 100-yard dash. You might not get a gold medal at the Olympics, but hell, you're still 7th in the world.
Right.
It's still pretty amazing. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
When I talk about all that we left on the table, it doesn't mean that I'm not supremely appreciative and proud of all that we actually did get done.
For sure. And that vibe does come along in the book. What was weird for me was because with my history with the band, there were times where I saw you guys that were some of the best rock concerts I've ever seen. But then now when I read the book and I reconcile with what was going on behind the scenes with that great show that I saw, does the fan reaction help to some extent with that? Like when you've talked to fans and they've told you, oh, I didn't know that was going on, but we saw this hell of a show or whatever. Does that help you some with kind of rebuilding what the end result was?
Oh, I've never felt like I had to rebuild it. I mean, I've always seen it there's a very clear line between what it took to get that band through another day and what people saw and felt and heard. The point of the book wasn't to say like, hey, here's just some salacious stuff behind the scenes. I mean, it's really just about me and my inability to, if there's a subplot or a, sub-theme or whatever. And I think that, I know for a fact, because I've heard this from enough people, that it's way more apparent the second time through. It's just sort of my getting my own shit together, like figuring out what really is important to me, accepting the fact that I can't change anything about other people and how they're going to live their lives, and and getting past where I, misplaced loyalty and thinking my definitions of what it is to be a team player, my definitions of what it is to be a stand-up guy. You can only do those things for so long with people that don't give a shit about it before you realize, like, wait, am I wasting my time here? What the hell?
Yeah. And anybody who's a fan of the band or has read the book or is thinking about looking into the book, they know the players as far as who we're talking about, with the people that don't, that didn't, certainly did not give a shit at some point. Have you? Well, and
and the thing is, I don't fault people for being who they are. You know what I mean? It's the last thing on my mind is any bitterness or anger. The only thing I look at is me, and the only thing I can affect or change is me. So that's my focus is all on just not repeating mistakes and learning from everything I've experienced. So, but I think that it's the kind of book where, depending on what you're expecting or hoping for, is going to flavor your reading very, very strongly, at least the first time through.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for me, there were things that on the outside, I never knew why the Page and Crows thing was so successful and then disappeared. Like in from a fan realm, it was just like, okay, on to the next thing. So for me, it was interesting to see the veil lifted off of those things. And like you said, not from I'm going to share this, behind the scenes stuff, but just more of a clarification for everybody as to how and why things happen. Yeah. One thing that's cool for me is, being from Detroit, we have at least 1/6 claim to the Black Crows by way of Eddie Harsh.
Of course.
There's certainly, I love near the end of the book, kind of after you discuss the end of the band, there is a piece about Ed in there. Do you have any memories maybe of Ed around the Detroit area, just being Ed, that you might want to share with us?
Yeah. I mean, there's just, it was apparent from the jump how much he meant to all the people. Fans in Detroit, they loved having a local guy in the band. We had played Detroit a bunch in 1990. We did at least 4 or 5 shows in that area. But the second Ed turned up with us, our first time back, we did the Palace at Auburn Hills was ZZ Top. But then, but that was it for that year. When we went back in 92 and played the Fox, it was like an Ed Harsh welcome wagon. You know what I mean? It was so great. And just to see fans that, they already liked the band, or whatever they loved about the band. But, like you said, there's just such a connection when there's a guy from your town in the band. And just Ed's regular involvement with fans was always the best. It was always hilarious. He was very present with fans. He never had any weird moments that anybody saw, but especially in Detroit, there was just so much warmth and appreciation for the guy. But then as the years went on, I would have conversations with people anywhere in the world. You could be at an airport, or just at a ball game, or just at the grocery store, anywhere. And somebody would come up and go like, "Oh, hey man, I'm from Detroit, man. I saw Ed at a bar like a month ago, and I just went up and said I just love his playing, and I just thanked him. And man, we ended up sitting there for an hour together." You just get those stories all the time.
Oh yeah.
He never left anybody feeling worse than when he found them. You know what I mean?
And that's the truth. Believe it or not, that show at the Fox Theater was my first Black Crowes show, and in the years since, I had at least 1 or 2 of those Ed moments where you would just run into him in a bar downtown. And, part of me is going, holy crap, that's the keyboard player for the Black Crowes. But then he made you feel so at ease that it wasn't even like that after a couple minutes.
Yeah, no, Ed was just a big part of me writing the book. I'd thought about it. I'd talked about it. People had said to me for years, "You got to write a book," and it was nothing I ever seriously considered until Ed died. And I really had a very strong sense of, to me, the Black Crowes were officially dead and buried in early 2014.
Yeah.
Ed died in the fall of 17, and it was kind of like, okay, I already knew that the band was dead, but now it's officially like this. The thing that the essence of what made that band great at its greatest, Ed was a huge piece of, and it wasn't a question of we're going to get back together and be the Black Crowes again, but the idea that you're never going to pick up the phone and call that guy again. The fact that he's really not out there anymore. It was I was shocked at how it was kind of unmooring. I felt adrift for a couple days, but very soon after, I felt at peace with where the band's story. Like, there wasn't anything left for me to process or change my opinion on. I felt very much like, I do understand this story, and I understand my life with the band. And, like I said, I had this thing of sadness and gratitude and appreciation. Those were going to commingle in my central nervous system for the rest of my life. And it makes sense to me, and I get it. Like, I don't think if I talk to you in 5 years or 10 years, I don't think I'd say, I see it really differently now. I mean, I can't imagine that. It might. I mean, who knows? But
yeah, I get that impression from the book. The way everything lined up, the way it all settled inside me, just felt very permanent, and I was totally cool with it. Yeah, and like I say, what I touched on earlier, that's exactly the impression I get from it. It's not a remorseful thing, and again, for those that are going to read this book, there are times where I think that if you had left the band, because I'm sure there were at least 3 or 4 times before you did leave that you were right on the brink, and I think that in those times I get the impression you wouldn't feel that way, but when you did leave, it was the right time, and now things are definitely over. Oh yeah. I mean, when Chris blew it up in 2014, it's easy to say he did everyone a favor. I mean, a clean break is oftentimes it's harsh in the moment, but it's easier long term. I mean, and that's what it did to me. It wasn't a question of when he made his demands, I didn't lose sleep over it. I didn't yell. I didn't rage. I honestly, it was so absurd. We did laugh about it at first. But the thing that hit me, it was quite simply, this is great. I now know I'll never be in a room with that guy again. Right. Like, why would I? Why would I spend 1 second of my life with somebody who thinks that's something he can demand after 27 years? Which was, it's like, yeah, I don't want to give it away, but holy shit. reading those demands was insane, just from a fan standpoint. Yeah. Well, that's what it's insane. It's just not something people do. I mean, it's and it just speaks to the different planets. Even when we were aligned, the band, everybody came to that band from different planets. It looks like sometimes in hindsight. But certainly by 2014, we were in completely different worlds as far as, I've said this a bunch too, but it's really true. And I was aware of this early on. When a bunch of guys in their late teens and early 20s get together, you don't have long-winded conversations about your values, right? Your ethics. You talk about, oh man, we sound pretty good. Right. Yeah. Let's go get a record deal. We didn't even have conversations about why we wanted a record deal. It was just this given in 1987. You go get a record deal. You put a record out. You tour. I mean, that was the depth of our conversations. We just wanted the same things desperately, but why we wanted them and what we thought they meant couldn't have been worlds apart. Yeah. Worlds apart. And again, by the time you wake up, hopefully, sometime in your 30s and start discussing those things, it can be pretty jarring to realize, wow, we've never wanted the same things ever. Right. For the same reasons anyway. Yeah, and the book is written in such a way that the fan comes to that realization as well. I mean, even in hindsight, like myself, knowing how it all ended, you still come along for the ride and come to that realization, with you as the author, which it's right. Well written that way. So I did tell you I didn't want to keep you long. I just real quick, the last thing I want to ask you is just looking toward the future, man. I've heard just about everything, all the side projects that have come out of the Black Crowes, and I got to tell you, I think the Trigger Hippy, the latest record, Full Circle and Then Some, is arguably the best thing to come out of all of these side projects that I've heard. I know that you can't be on the road right now, and I'm sure you're anxious to get back on the road. From a fan standpoint, is Trigger Hippy something that we can look forward to long term? Do you think that that's going to continue for a while? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, tonight, I don't know when you're posting this, but Monday night, the 28th, there's a streaming gig that you can watch from the basement in Nashville. I'm a one-armed man right now. I had surgery on my right elbow a month ago, so we'll see if I can figure out how to play without my right arm. But we're actually doing a streaming gig
from the basement, which is here in Nashville.
Yeah,
and that'll be available. That'll be up online for a while.
Okay, I was just going to ask because this will actually come out the following Monday, so I want to make sure fans can go back and watch it like through video on demand or something. Yeah, and I've had a couple of friends play some gigs at the basement. That seems to be a cool place. I got to get down there and check it out. So anyways, like I said, Steve, I can't thank you enough for making the time with us. I definitely want to hold to my end of the bargain and get you out of here. Once again, Steve does have the book. It's available in paperback now as well. Hard to Handle: The Life and Death of the Black Crowes. Thanks again, Steve. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. Cheers.
Right on. Thanks, man. See ya.
See ya.
So as you might imagine, that was a whole lot of fun for me.
Oh, God, that's awesome.
Yeah. My first thought coming out of that is, Michelle, get to start tweeting at Marcus Mumford.
I'm on it. So first I have to clean up my Twitter, and then and then I have to learn how to use Twitter, and then but I'm totally on it.
But yeah, I mean, you never know what'll come out of a tweet. So
that is true.
That was awesome. So, and I kind of told you guys a little bit about this. As we ease into this and more of these that I would want to have on our show, I don't want to be the guy that's trying to ask the sensational questions and stuff. When I wrote out my questions, they were very calculated to the point of things that I would think Steve would want to talk about without saying like, oh, I'm going to give away this big thing in the book, or like, oh, let me get a soundbite from you about Rich or Chris, and then he just volunteered some sound bites about Rich and Chris. So, and I will say the last thing I will say to really, I'm not just plugging this book just to plug the book. If you read this entire book just for the story of the conversation that Jimmy Page has with Steve Gorman about why Jimmy Page stopped working with the Black Crowes, it is worth whatever time you put into this book to read. And I recommend having like something like a cushion or something nearby to scream into when you read that conversation, because it's just, and it's with Steve's humor, it's handled in such a way that like and I mentioned this to him in the interview, you laugh at it, but you're also like, that's Jimmy Page telling you this insane thing, it's crazy. In any case, it was a hell of a time for me to be able to do that interview, and we'll post it and make sure to tag him and stuff. And so hopefully, there's some new folks listening to us out of it, that maybe hadn't heard of the show. And
you did say that you can still go and watch that performance on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I haven't looked myself, but he said it was going to be on their Facebook page. So, and I'm not kidding. I wasn't saying that to kiss his ass either. Like, Michelle, you know this. I've listened to everything that the Black Crowes have done, like, and all the side projects and everything. Chris Robinson Brotherhood is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my entire life. And Rich has a couple of solo records. One of them is absolutely fantastic. The other ones are just okay. And up until Steve started drumming for Trigger Hippy, I was just like, oh, this is one of those things where the total is not, the sum is not equal to the total parts, like it's just not Rich needs Chris and Rich needs Steve.
Right.
And then this new record from Trigger Hippy is great. It's everything I would have wanted from the sound, the overall idea of the Black Crowes to continue.
Awesome.
So I'm really, really happy about that. So the two things I would leave you with is one, even if you are not a Black Crowes fan, I can't stress enough what a great read Hard to Handle: The Life and Death of the Black Crowes by Steve Gorman is. And if you are a Crowes fan and you're looking for something that maybe carries that vibe on, definitely check out the record Full Circle and Then Some by Trigger Hippy, because that's what you're looking for. If you've listened to the Chris Robinson Brotherhood and, like me, got halfway through one side after buying the record and then put it back in your vinyl bin, never to be pulled again, this is the record that you're looking for, is that one. So going into next week, we're a bit up in the right now. We have there's a fridge delivery.
I'm having a fridge delivery.
And then there's a person in London that's probably coming on the show. It's a whole thing. So we, as always, though, we always have something lined up. We will have a fun and interesting guest or a fun and interesting topic or something.
It'll be a surprise.
It's going to be a surprise, yeah. So it'll be a whole lot of fun. So make sure that you tune in next week. And if you are new to the show, make sure that you hit subscribe. And if you would, please share this episode with others and say, hey, I found this fantastic new music podcast with two pretty cool dudes and some broad who's not very cool. Any first-time listener this week is going to be like, why did he make such a big deal out of what she's listening to? I mean, really, why?
You guys are the worst.
Like we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.